Hi, welcome to Sheepish, episode 53. Today is Sunday, March 29th, 2015, and I'm Holly. So, hi, it's been a while. I know, it's been since Thanksgiving. I'm sorry, things just kind of got out of hand. A lot's gone on, and George is down here and apparently wants to make a racket. A lot's gone on since we last talked. Life has just gotten a little crazy and I wasn't able to record. Not well, at least. I did do a recording on Boxing Day, so the day after Christmas, and I just never posted it. I never actually got around to editing it or posting it because it just wasn't good. Not that this is going to be any cinematic work of art, but you know, I couldn't say a lot of things then, and now I can, or I can say more. Part of what was going on was work related. Most of it was work related. Isn't that just the way? Right before Christmas, my company was told that that we were in the process of being bought by another company. And that's been fine. We were all assured that we had jobs, and we have. We have, but things have just been kind of topsy-turvy and crazy since then, with being part of an acquisition and trying to find out where we fit in. So I've been super busy since then. And we launched a new product at the same time at work, and it's basically what I've been doing, but it's like what I've been doing's here, and the new product brings it up to here, and yeah. So it's been busy. I haven't really even had a whole lot of time to knit. I have had time to start things. The finishing, not so much. You would think that I'd have a ton of stuff to show you, but no. If you are still around, thank you. I'm sure that I lost a lot of people in this unplanned hiatus, but if you're still around, thank you. I appreciate the words, the messages, the words, just telling me that you missed me. So, yeah, it's been on my list of things to do. If you follow me on Instagram, you have seen some of what's been going on. I am recording in a slightly different space. Actually, a very different space. It's the same room that I've been recording in. But what you see back there was what I used to face. Part of this, again, if you follow me on Instagram, you saw what happened. A week ago, yeah, it's been about a week. We got that. Yeah, I finally was able to join the Apple revolution, and yeah, I love it. I've needed a new computer for a while. This is the family computer, but I use it mostly. And if things look a little different, also I'm trying to see if the camera on the iMac is any better than my camera that I've been using, because it's a good camera. And if there's no difference, I'll probably still use the camera on the iMac, but if I think I can get better quality from my old camera, I'll use that because it's just a USB input. The lighting's a little funky because I no longer have that window in front of me. I've now got a window off to the side, which you guys have seen often, yeah. And I've also got my standing lamp over here that I've got shining right on me, so that's kind of why I'm a little washed out. Like, if I do this, I'm looking fine. But I wanted to be sure that you guys would be able to see what I'm showing, so... but yeah, so that's been fun. I've been playing around with this, and yeah. I will say this. Apple has brought peace into this family, so... yeah. Anyway, you're not here for all of that. Or maybe you are, and you're just catching up. And if you are, well, we can, yeah. This is probably not going to be a long episode. Like I said, I haven't had a whole lot of time to knit or finish things. I finished a couple of things, and yay. I've started a lot, which I'm not going to show you, just because why? Unless they actually become projects where I'm actually working on them and devoting any time to them. Yeah. I've got a couple of things that I'm going to show you, obviously. But yeah, that's not it. So let's go ahead and get started with the current roster. So currently what I'm working on 2 different things right now. So currently I am working on this. This is the Debaser shawl. You can kind of see, I'm going to hold it up to see if I can get any stitch definition. Kind of. This is out of my hand spun. This is out of my very first loop bat that I spun. And this is what I have left. Now, if I were a good podcaster, I would have remembered to pull up a picture of the Debaser shawl. But basically, it is this garter rib for the body, and then it goes out into a lace. I'm on the last couple of colors in here, so I'm actually going to go ahead and transition to the lace fairly soon. Also, because I don't want to use a whole lot of that really light green that's not focusing. Yeah, but you see the light green. Because this was my very first chain ply, and I started off with the light green. It's not pretty. A lot of this isn't pretty, but the yarn. The pattern itself is wonderful, and it's easy, and you can zone out, and you know exactly where you're at. So I'm really loving this pattern. I will have a link to the pattern in show notes because I will be doing those. Yay! Yeah, so that's what's going on with that. It's my hand spun. Okay, so that's not the best of examples, but it is horribly overspun, or overplied, I should say. It probably is overspun as well. It's not the most comfortable thing to work with in my hands, so I can't work with it for really long periods of time, but I'm proud. I'm proud that it's my hand spun. I'm going to wash and block it and beat it a little bit in the blocking to see if I can move some of that energy out into the rest of the shawl. And that is actually being knit for the Into the Wool knit along. They're doing 2 knit alongs right now, and the first one has to be done by April 9th, so I need to get back to working on this. Needs to be at least 100 yards of something, and yeah, a project of our choosing. So I decided to dig into my handspun stash and do that. I am, if you haven't guessed from the Into the Wool knit along, I am going to that in Crossville, Tennessee in September, so I'm very excited. It will be my second ever retreat. Like that, yeah. But yeah, so that's what's going on with that. And then this next one, I'm apparently doing the knit along thing because I also have this. And the color on this end is a little bit more accurate. This is the Second Story Tee by, I actually have that pattern with me, by Debbie O'Neill. And this is out of the Spring 2015 Interweave Knits. This is the spring knit along that Fiberspace is doing. And it looks like that. So that's the back of it, but the front pretty much is identical. It's like 2 rectangles. It's meant to be that big drapey tee. So I'm working on this. I actually cast on the night before last. I'm now one repeat in. I need to do another before I get to do something a little different. It's a lot of ribbing. I am using Hempathy. So the Elspeth Levold Hempathy, if I can find the label. So if you have never used Hempathy, it is 34% hemp, 41% cotton, 25% modal, and the camera is just not going to focus. And it's color 39 because, they are very imaginative with their color names. But yeah, it's a very pretty kind of jade tealy color. Now, I will say this about the Hempathy. They may call themselves a DK. They lie. They are dirty limes. Sorry about that, but yeah. I've had a hell of a time trying to even get close to gauge. I haven't. I finally just said screw it. I am knitting this on US 4s. These are my interchangeable Chiagu needles with belace tips. And I am getting 6 stitches to the inch. The pattern calls for 5 1/4 stitches to the inch. So I've done the math. I figured that the largest size, the very largest size, should work out in my favor. If it doesn't, well, then I will throw a fit, and then my mother will probably get a top. But the largest size should work out in my favor, and yeah. Other than that, it's not bad to knit with. It's a little wiry, it feels like, in my hands. Again, I can't knit on it for very, very long, but it's going to make a great top. I got bored of knitting a swatch, but I did do a swatch. And my stitch gauge before and after washing and drying, because Hempathy can be machine washed and dried. So I went ahead and machine washed and dried my swatch, and then still laid it out flat and everything, but without pinning it out. My stitch gauge was the same. It just filled in a little bit, which makes me happy. I actually like this fabric, so that's going to happen. So we'll see how far I get between now and next time I record, hopefully next week. Knocking on wood. Yeah, that's all I'm really working on. I mean, I've been using some of my sock yarn scraps and going between a couple of different scrappy blankets. There's the memory blanket, which I didn't realize, and I kind of created of my own, and then went, oh wait, which uses the same kind of mitered squares, just in different numbers, and yeah, it uses mitered squares in different numbers, and you have a flat blanket edge. And then there is the ever popular sock yarn blanket that everybody's doing that has a zigzaggy edge because you're using individual blocks and then bringing them together. I've got one of each started. We'll see. I mean, knitting a block or two at night to kind of try and shut my brain down is really kind of nice to do. That's actually when I can't think about ribbing of any kind, or my hands just can't deal with that. I'll sit in bed, turn on Apple TV, and then start knitting a little square, a little square to add on, and that's worked. I can get a few out during I can get, like, I think 2 out in an hour-long episode of something, so that's kind of nice. And George will he's learned to suck it up, because I do this in bed a lot. So that's all that's on the current roster that I'm at least admitting to, because these are actual projects. They're not just conceptual. So adding to the alumni roster. Now these, I'm sure everybody's figured out, if you have been watching, that they should have been done by now, and they are. These are my Hermione's Everyday Socks in the CJ Knit 12th Doctor colorway, so that way I can merge my nerddoms. And these are coming out super, super dark. But when I get up close, you can see a much truer color. So this is the first sock. This is the second sock. I forget where it was when you last saw it, but I kept this up here just so you could see. These were actually finished on New Year's Day. New Year's Day, my bestie came out New Year's Eve. New Year's Day, we went to the Winter Classic in Washington, D.C. To watch the Caps play the Blackhawks. That was an excellent. That was such a good game. Anyway, we came home, and I had made sure to record it here. So we went and rewatched it because we wanted to see everything from different angles. And so while we finished with that, I basically finished the toe and Kitchener, and I was done by, I'd say, about halfway through the first period. So while these are officially the first things that I finished in 2015, I'm still counting them towards 2014 because, yeah, why not? I'm just going to say, sorry about the light. I'm still figuring this out. It's a different area. I'm getting light from different sources, so we'll see how this goes. But yeah, so those are done. They're ready. Ends are woven in. I know. I have not worn these all winter because I wanted to show these to you. And now it's finally becoming spring. Although yesterday was really flippin' cold. Just saying. So, while those are done, some of you have, seen on Instagram that I've been making some progress on some other socks. Again, marrying it really only deals with one nerddom. One of my geekdoms, my Harry Potter geekdom. I managed to snag a skein of Jinx Yarns House Cup colorway. And this is the first sock. So, if you don't know Harry Potter, well, that's inconceivable to me, but that's beside the point. Each of these sets of stripes, so these two sets of stripes represents a house in the Harry Potter universe. So these two stripes represent Gryffindor, these two are Hufflepuff, these two are Slytherin, and these two are Ravenclaw. Yeah, I'm completely in love with this sock. Yeah. It took me a while. These are actually, these were like my car knitting and my webinar knitting because I just wanted to have something that was vanilla and I didn't have to think about. So once I finished the first sock, complete with heel, because I wanted to make sure that I could get the stripings all happy, I cast on for the second sock and I finished it. Now, of course, I still need to weave in ends because I was lazy. Although when I finished my heel, it was also 6:30 in the morning. And yeah. So second sock, these stripes almost match up completely. And when I say almost, yeah, I was really upset that my heels didn't match completely. You can see here on the first sock, I was well into the green Slytherin stripe, and on the second sock, I just barely started it. And on the first sock, yeah, on the first sock, this is awkward. You can see here, I have just really a stitch, maybe two. I think it's just one though, of where I go back into the Gryffindor gold. And here I have about 10 stitches where I was in Gryffindor Gold, which kind of screws up my whole hashtag that I did on Instagram where I was like, start with Gryffindor, end with Ravenclaw. I'm still counting it. But these are wonderful. I need to weave in the ends, and I can't wait to start wearing these because, again, it got chilly over the last couple of days. Yeah. So that's pretty much all I've added to the alumni roster, just because I haven't had the time. I've started lots of things. I've started hats. I've started all sorts of, but no, I haven't gotten around to finishing anything. Now, that doesn't mean that I haven't enhanced the stash, but if I actually did a whole segment on stash enhancement of everything that I've gotten since we last talked, we could go on for a while. So I'm just gonna suffice it to say that there has been stash enhancement. Some of it's living in that cabinet there. Some of it's living in the closet that's over here. Some of it's upstairs. Might be a little in the car. Anyway, who cares? As I use something, though, I'll let you know, like, when I got it. Or, yeah, so you guys are going to see it. I'm going to start working with it, hopefully. If I don't, I might drown. So I still need to work through some of that. I've got some socks that I need to cast on for, because you know I always have socks on the needles. I'm kicking around a few ideas in my head first, though, on a couple of designs. And I know I've been saying that for a while, but I just haven't had the time to write anything down. And now that I've got like a very specific idea, I need to kind of sketch this out and then see if I can find a stitch pattern that works with the idea, or create a, I don't know. But I know what I want to do. And so there's that. I'll probably throw another pair of self-striping socks on the needles just to have for vanilla sockdom. But yeah. So I guess that brings us to what's making me happy. Really, what's making me happy is that I'm finally getting to do this. Again, I've missed you guys. Like I said, if you've sent me a message or anything, just sending kind words or wondering if I'm okay, thank you. Thanks so much. I am touched. I really am touched, not just in the head. But yeah, so there's that. Obviously, the new technology. It's a big heart. But yeah, also in the what's making me happy, for the most part, my Caps. It's the end of regulation hockey season, or it will be soon. We have 7 more games, with one being played this afternoon. We're trying to hold on to a wild card spot to continue on to the next round, to the playoffs. We'll see. We'll see. It's been a good year for us, so I'm hoping that we can hold on. It would be really, really awful if we couldn't at this point in time. But yeah, so my plans for today are getting this edited and then sitting in front of the TV and watching some hockey while I knit. Hopefully Comcast has gotten through their issues that they've been having this morning. We've been having some weird outages, and then it comes back up. I don't know. But hopefully they've gotten through all of that this morning, because really, I need to watch some hockey. And I couldn't watch yesterday's game because I was teaching, which is probably a good thing, because we didn't win. Although apparently the really bad period was the first period, of which I was not teaching during that point. Michelle and I were out having lunch and a margarita, and I was getting agitated and had to hide my phone from myself. And then we talked Harry Potter for the rest of the lunch because she knows how that's going to calm me. um, and also, she's getting into Harry Potter. Sorry, that's the squeak, but that's like the final thing that's really making me happy. Michelle's finally getting into the Harry Potter world. Being my friend for so long, she's learned a lot about the entire Potterverse. Um, and she's listening to the Jim Dale recordings and watching the movies after and telling me like her thoughts on the differences, and I love it. Yeah, I'm drawing more and more people into my geekdoms. It makes me happy. More and more of my friends will be assimilated. But yeah, so I guess that's about it for this week. Hopefully, I'll be able to record next week. If not, I'd like to get back on a schedule. We'll see. I do want to do this more often because you know, it took me 10 minutes to just record the first two because I've been so out of practice. So yeah. So let me know what you think about the camera. It's a much wider picture. I can't figure out how to make it zoom in. So sorry about seeing that mess. Soon, when it gets a little warmer and everything, you're going to see a couch back there. And that makes me very, very happy. So you're not going to see the box there. Hopefully, the secretary with all of the yarn will be up against that wall. My vacuum cleaner won't be in the shot. Hopefully there are a lot of things that are going to happen. But yeah, so I guess that's about it. Keep knitting, stitching, crocheting, spinning on. Bye, everybody.